You see that? That's not supposed to be happening. The R9 390 does have the potential to run games at 1080p at high or ultra settings here in 2020 and can be had for a bargain like this SAPPHIRE NITRO 8GB model I picked up for $50 online. But it's not supposed to be running this hot, but I think you and I know why that is, so let's fix it. And if you're a first-time viewer to the channel and you want to learn more about building PCs and other gaming related stuff, consider clicking the subscribe button and notification bell and catch all new uploads like this one the moment they drop. Doing this helps me grow here on YouTube and as a content creator, and for that I appreciate you all to the moon and back. What's happening YouTube and the internet, which is abundant given the current situation developing around the globe right now. But I'm Terrence and we're back inside the lab, and today we're taking a look at the SAPPHIRE NITRO 8GB model that I picked up on eBay for just a little over 50 USD. And as soon as it went under load, the temperatures would slowly climb up to TJ Max and the car would throttle and slow itself down just to stay alive. And although the R9 390 launched back in 2015, this SAPPHIRE NITRO model has 8GB of GDDR5 memory, but if you game at a moderate resolution without the eye candy, more VRAM won't translate to better frames. And now with the R9 390 being a little over 5 years old now, I think we all know what needs to be done. So let's get this GPU cleaned up and apply a fresh coat of nothing but the best and play some games. And it's just as I suspected, right? The thermal paste is essentially dried up and non-existent, and this confirms my suspicions that this GPU was ran pretty rough, nearly to the point of death. So let's get this old thermal paste cleaned up and apply some Arctic MX4 thermal compound and see just how the R9 390 runs games here in 2020. And now one last thing I wanted to add before we jump into the benchmarks, and that is I noticed that the 1 TB Seagate hard drive I was using for this configuration was nearing the end of its life cycle because the system would freeze up anytime I would load a file or application, and Windows was taking way too long to load and boot. So we're switching to this HP 500 GB SSD, which is going to make the system significantly faster in terms of load times. And now with Windows 10 reinstalled and updated, it's time to finally download and play some games. R9 390 Nitro, say goodbye to 2015 and hello to 2020. Not only did replacing the thermal paste fix our problem, it dropped temperatures by 20 to 25 degrees C overall, which enabled the R9 390 to push out frames at 1080p high settings in games like World War Z, where we saw averages of 100 plus FPS at a blend of medium and ultra settings, or in CSGO, where we saw FPS pushing into the 300s at medium to low settings. And then there's Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is a poorly optimized DX12 game, which didn't see much of a difference between max settings and high settings in terms of performance. But I honestly wanted to test Call of Duty Warzone, but the servers were down. I was unable to download battle.net, so that's something we're going to have to revisit in the future or down the road. And now the R9 390 held its own running Fortnite at epic settings, managing at least an average of 60 plus FPS, but much better numbers across the board at medium to high settings. And then in Time Spy, we saw a score of 3,910, which is comparable to a Ryzen 5 1600X and an RX 570. And then in Firestrike, where the R9 390 reached a score of 11,102, which is on par with a GTX 1060 and maybe knocking on the door of a GTX 1070 when overclocked, but it's an AMD card, so I doubt it. And then in Heaven, I let the benchmark run in a loop for about an hour just to be on the safe side, which didn't see temps go past 67 degrees C, and 65 degrees C while gaming, and 68 degrees C during a firm-mark run, and this is with the fan set to auto and MSI Afterburner. But all in all, at the end of the day, this GPU may be a little bit on the heavy side with its two 8-pin power connectors and 275 watt power draw. But I paid a little over 50 USD for this R9 390 8GB, and it's getting the job done at high and ultra settings, well, depending on the game, that is. And with the GPU running much cooler now, there may be some headroom for overclocking, so tell me down in the comment section below if that's something you like to see, or if there's a specific game you'd like to see me test and benchmark using this graphics card, and I'll do my best to bring it to you here on the channel. Which, speaking of, to learn more about building PCs and other gaming related stuff, watch the top video first and the bottom one next. Consider clicking around the subscribe icon to the bottom of the screen so you can find it all in one place. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and go. Thanks for giving this one a watch. I hope to catch you all on the next one, so until then, be easy.